Hello everyone. Been a long time since I've done one of these. I keep saying in the Discord that I'm going to do a video where I build armies or something like that, and I've never done it. So I thought today, when I've got sort of half an hour whilst I wait for B-Champ to reply to me, curse you B-Champ, that I would get one of these finally done. So I think I want to make a 1v1 army. Typically when you play a 1v1 map, they're all very small, close quarters. Things like barrier destroy can be very effective for tight chokes where fences are. So these are things that I need to keep in mind. Amphibiousness probably isn't an option at level 2 because there often isn't enough time for you to research level 2, then go and build a water chamber to start making units from. So I think land-based level 2 is most of the time. Might look at amphibious at level 3, particularly if I'm looking at a map like, let's think, Boardwalk perhaps. There's water access. In fact, water's pretty important on Boardwalk. The same thing can be said with like Vacation, Ring, Pier, of course. So I think that's the way we're going to go. I was just kind of drafting this up off stream, or rather off recording, and I came up with a few ideas. So I think straight away initially I'm thinking 3 level 2s, 3 level 3s, 3 level 4s. A 1v1 is typically quite unlikely to go to level 5. I think if you let your opponent get to level 5 in a 1v1, you've probably lost anyway. I think you generally want to kill your opponent by level 2, level 3 kind of latest. Level 4, it's nice to have options, but I don't think that level 5 is really worthwhile in a 1v1 army. So the things I'd kind of thought about at level 2 then, I was thinking barrier destroy at level 2 for my melee. In my zoo I have Warthog Herc and Cheetah Scorp. I normally really like the Warthog Herc, but I'm looking at the Elec 57 and thinking they're going to take a long time to get a significant mass of them up. And it's going to cost me a lot of money. That 57 Elec is quite damaging. In a 1v1 you typically don't want to spend too much money on electricity because that slows you getting to level 3, and that's where there's a huge power spike. So I think I'm going to go Cheetah Scorps. Kind of classic, kind of a bit cheesy, but obviously they've good stats on them, they're fast, they do good damage, barrier destroy. So these are all things that allow you to outposition your opponent and attack from multiple fronts, as well as ripping through buildings pretty quickly. So things like bramble fences, harm-beam towers, maybe workshops or forward chambers, which are all going to be quite common elements in a 1v1. Range-wise, I want something relatively fast. I was looking initially at the Camel Frog, which I think is probably one of the dominant level 2 ranges at the moment. It's Camel Frog or Camel Pork, I think, are typically the most dominant. Now, I really want to go with Camel Frog, but I also understand how important the numbers are at level 2. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go Zebron Frog. It's a lot cheaper. Its stats are okay. It's a lot less bulky. It has a little bit more melee, so it's not as vulnerable in one-on-one combat as the camel would be. Still very fast. The damage is the same. The range is the same. With them being 15 gold cheaper, that's like 10%. So I think that's probably worthwhile at level 2 to take that hit and go for that. I'm also going to go for a level 2 Artillerian to complement that, and I think this is the one I want, Camel Skipper. One of the other combos that's really common, I don't think I have this in my zoo yet, is the Camel Archerfish, which is always really good as well. Obviously you can make this amphibious with that tail too, but we're not going to do that in this army. Just get a nice photo, that one will do. So I'm thinking it's going to be one of these two. Straight away I'm looking at that Elec. That's 20 Elec is fairly significant. 6 damage over 25 distance versus 4 damage over 33. So both of these outrange a Sunbeam Tower, which I think is important. What else am I looking for? There's decent bulk, but it's not significantly different. I think actually, although I was planning on going with the Skipper, I think I'm going to go with the Cammerfish. That damage is really, really good, particularly in 1v1 where you want to get damage out quite quickly. The sustainability doesn't seem to be as important in my opinion. My opinion on that might change though, so I don't hold that as gospel. So there are level 2s. I'm happy with those. You want to get really aggressive with the cheetah scorpion and support them with zebra frogs, and the camouflage are there for opposing mass range. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. When I look at level 3, I already have a glassy melee that can do a lot of damage. I have a supporting range that can kind of be used level 3, but not really. And some artillery. I will be going with another artillery unit. That is, like, without a question. And in fact, I'm going to put in my artillery unit now because I know which one I like. I'm going with, where is it? Yeah, Tiger Oog Pista. This is like the perfect anti-range unit. Really good sight, really good artillery. Like, the damage isn't superb, the range isn't superb, but it's kind of just completely anti-range because of deflect. So range units don't want to be attacking this with their, they don't want to be focusing these down because of the deflect. They take damage, and they don't want to be anywhere near them when these guys start attacking because obviously artillery really, really hurts versus range units. So straight away I know that that's my artillery unit at level 3. We could go for a flyer. We could go for melee and range here. I think I'm going to do melee and range. I'm already kind of thinking about, like, Vacation is the sort of atypical 1v1 map, and the water is, although it's present, it's not like super key. You don't have to have very fast things, but amphibious means you can strike all over the map. So what do we got in terms of melee and range in my zoo? Sonic could be nice. We already have artillery and barrage destroy at level 2 for Samium Towers, so I don't hate the idea of Sonic. Direct range, I think it's just like the giant hammerhead that I like. There's level 3 range. Oh, it's just lion eels. Not very bulky. Okay, so I wasn't thinking initially about going with Sonic, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I like the idea of Sonic. What if we went like for a happy medium? So here's where I'm at. Sonic is obviously really good versus opposing melee, and it's decent against opposing range because of the cone damage. I like the idea of having Sonic, but obviously the 2 units I have in my zoo are very expensive, 250 coal. The direct range that I'm thinking about using alternatively would be the lion eel, maybe the python pork. So I'll just have a mess around in the zoo, see if I can find, or in the combiner rather, see if I can find another Sonic unit that I like at level 3. So we've already got, we know that the bull and the horse are level 3. Now they're size 5, so let's try the lioness. That's obviously size 4. But obviously Pack Hunter will give me a decent damage boost. Okay, so that variation's level 4. One's level 3. I'm not 100% if we're going to use this, but we'll save it in the zoo at least. We can always come back and change that later, I guess. What's the range on that? 19. Okay, so Sonic and Poison Artillery work. In fact, indeed, any artillery work really well as a combination because the Sonic has a slowdown effect, which means artillery can hit units easier. Obviously, these artillery are poisonous, so they also get the poison debuff, which is a minus damage, and they also do less, or rather, it does damage over time as a side effect of being poisoned, but it will also, or that poison also offers like a debuff, so that's like a reduced movement speed and a reduced damage from the opponent unit. So I like that on paper. I think that works well on paper. What are we going to use as melee? So I'm thinking about maybe going with something like maybe camo. Could be nice. Maybe. Okay, I want to be able to exploit like open spaces and raid. Raiding's really nice. Being able to get around these units would be cool. Obviously amphibious again, I really like that now. Got that theme running through with these. Perhaps a way. I mean, okay. I think I'm tempted by like hover here. So I think like a hover level 3 melee, like the hatchet fish with something, would be pretty interesting. I think it's not going to be the most common of all things, but hovering will allow you to traverse the map really, really well on something like Vacation, and you'll be able to sort of launch a few surprise attacks. The issue with hover obviously is that you are slow when you're in the air. People can see it coming and prepare for it. Is it worth trying out? Yes. Is it necessarily good? No. But you know, we'll find out. We'll find out. Here's one I was looking at earlier, and I think I'm gonna go with it. Just see how I sort of feel about it. I may end up changing this. This may end up going to something else. Probably immune. Probably something high damage again. Because obviously these don't really do much damage as a trio, particularly against buildings. So I may look at adjusting that, I'm not sure yet. When we look at level 4 though, there are certain level 4s that are particularly dominant in the metagame. So one of those I'm just going to dump straight in, which is the Hippo Porcupine, which I think is the premier level 4 range. That is just going to go straight in, nailed down. It's got good damage, the piercing obviously is good, the very bulky herding obviously helps with that, it's amphibious still. So that's, for me, that's no questions, that one is in the army. Artillery wise, so I know I'm going to have a melee unit in there, but that melee unit is going to depend on what sort of melee unit I'm using at level 3. So I'm just going to kind of slot that in last and go with the level 4 artillery first. I don't know if I have any artillery level 4 in my zoo. I don't. So a couple of patches ago, Beluga Hippo I think was level 4. I don't know if that still is. If it is, then we could end up using this. Oh, that's level 5 now. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame. Yeah, that could have been really good. Okay, what else can we try? Beluga Hyena, maybe? Alright, so we have got a level 4 artillery. This is definitely viable. It's got decent damage, obviously the sonar pack. What about the wolf? That obviously has high endurance, which I think synergizes better. No, that's level 4. Oh, that's level 5, sorry. Let's look at the horse. We'll also look at the zebra. Okay, the horse exists. 280 health. And the hyena was 305. Okay, of the horse and hyena, I think I prefer the hyena. I'll just check out the zebra as well, I think. I think I'm gonna go hyena. I think the damage is just too valuable. Yeah, we're gonna go hyena. The beluga. The reason I'm going with beluga as well, not the archfish, is because of sonar pulse. Sonar pulse is information, and information is so important in 1v1s. You can use that to scout your base. You can look at expos. It's just really, really good. Really good. Sonar pulse, super good. In fact, that might be something I look at including at level 3. We'll get there. We'll get there. So currently with this army, I'm thinking maybe something like a bull lobster at level 4 would be nice. I'm looking particularly for level 4 melee. So I want something with, good damage, good bulk. An end unit that has to do enough damage that it can kill a lab relatively quickly. So I don't actually have bull lobs in my zoo. I'll just build these now. So bull lobs are one of my favourite units in Tellurian, or certainly in the past. They got really expensive with the horns and barrier destroy changes, but that seems to have come down quite a lot now. So this was like an old go-to for me, and I think actually it's still very good. Again, as to whether we end up staying with this or moving away, I don't yet know. I'm not sure if I'm happy with this tiger hatchet fish. Let's just evaluate things. What do we got? So we've got strong early game barrier destroy, good range support. We don't have any way of killing buildings at level 3, but we do beat mass range quite comfortably. We do beat melee. We lose to meat shields. We should have lose to meat shields at level 3. Thankfully they're not too common. Level 4, we do okay versus mass range, but not super good. I think it's really hard to do super good versus mass range, but we have the dominant range. We have the melee with charge attack, and we have artillery. That's okay. So I think the main thing then is level 3, looking at dealing with meat shields. So what can we use to deal with meat shields level 3? So something, maybe something with poison, maybe something with just high damage. I was wondering if there's like a hammerhead combo that's nice. Maybe wolf hammerhead? This used to be level 3. Okay, that version isn't, but this version is. I do like this one. I've used this before. It's on the spendier side, but immune means it's not able to be killed by, or rather it's not going to be poisoned and debuffed by my own units. Also, keen sense could be super useful at level 3. Stop any camo raiding going on. Just have a couple of these guys about. So this is definitely an option. Definitely an option. So we're thinking Hammerhead Wolf at the moment. What else can we use that's keen sense maybe? Let's have a look. So we've got Warhog, we've got Mantis Shrimp, Eagle perhaps. Okay, so there's a fair few stocks here that I like. Just about finding the unit that I think I want. Whereas with the Wolf Hammerhead we have Amphibious, we've got immune, pretty bulky, good damage. What if you look at like Mantis Shrimp with, let's say, Horse? I think this will be level 4, maybe level 5, the way I'm thinking about. Okay, that's level 4. Okay, so what if we look at like the... this is a good unit. This is one I've used before. It's a unit I used to use a lot in the last patch. I think I was known for finding these. I think we may end up going with these actually. Keen Sensor is still very good. They're so bulky. Great damage, great stats. Yeah, maybe I'm leaning towards these. Although I don't like that name. I'm going to have to switch this out. They've got to be Muscantas, you know? I think I prefer this variation. So now what do we have? We've got immune, so we're not going to be easily killed by this. This is a slowdown effect which synergizes well with the artillery. These are naturally quite slow, so they appreciate the slowdown. I'm still a little bit worried that these are very slow though. Okay, so level 3 melee is definitely something I'm flagging as being potentially something to address in the future. As is perhaps level 4 artillery. But as things stand, I'm relatively happy with this actually overall as a level, as a 1v1 army. As always though, when you build armies, you have to playtest them. You have to, if you can analyze an army just by looking at it and know exactly what's wrong and what the correct unit is to fix every time, you're a good man, better man than I am. Definitely a better player. Up until then though, I think being able to identify it, perhaps looking at weaknesses and then trying it out in a game and then assessing the army afterwards and seeing if there's any way you can improve it for your own playstyle, I think that's probably the way to go. But if you want to, you know, maybe give this army a try out yourself and let me know how it goes for you, then that'd be super cool. But I think that'll do for this video. We'll just call this a 1v1 army. There you go. Maybe you learnt something about my thoughts in unbuilding, maybe you didn't, but if you would maybe drop the channel a thumbs up, I'm sure we'd all appreciate that. In other news, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.